Did Red Bull solve the porpoising issue? Porpoising, porpoising, porpoising. The ugliest word that we hear continuously in 2022 F1 commentary after the major regulation changes introduced for this season. 2022 body design of the F1 cars looks speedier and more aggressive by its appearance, but technically it is totally a mess with a lot of aerodynamic issues. Instead of focusing on racing, now teams are trying to solve these aerodynamic issues first. What is this messy thing called porpoising? Porpoising is the result of downforce pushing the car down towards the track, resulting in underfloor air to stall. When it happens, the F1 car rises off from the ground, leading to the underfloor air kicking into it. Then it is pushed back into the ground, and so it continues, resulting in a bouncing motion. Commenting about the 2022 cars and porpoising issue, Red Bull Chief Technical Officer Adrian Newey said, "We knew it was a potential problem. With these regs, you could see that was a possibility, but whether they would and how you model that was the difficulty. At the same time, we didn't find a way of modeling it properly. In principle, you could do it in the wind tunnel." This statement clearly suggests that Red Bull has found a way to address this issue quickly, as Newey had a good understanding of the problem prior to the start of the season. This is not a surprising thing with a brain like Adrian Newey as one of the greatest designers in the current F1 paddock by being the magician behind several championship-winning cars. He knows the reason for the problem, but he doesn't want to pass much detail to his rivals. Anyhow, he hinted that there is more than one airflow under the floor and that it is important to make them work together to solve this issue. This is something that cannot be modeled in a wind tunnel and the area where other technical teams are blind. Ferrari is not as successful as Red Bull, but they have addressed the problem to a considerable extent. We saw that they are trying with new floor design for Carlos Sainz's car at Imola, and Ferrari stated that they are going to introduce the same upgrade to Leclerc's car at Miami as well. But Mercedes has the poorest solution to solve this issue, and now they seem to be paying off for their sidepodless radical body design. At the end of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, Toto Wolff addressed Lewis Hamilton over the radio and said, "I know that this is undrivable and not what we deserve to score as a result, so we move from there, but this was a terrible race." The problem with the Mercedes is that W13 is carrying the porpoising problem into corners, leading to a significant proportion of its performance deficit. Other teams have already addressed that issue without causing many problems to the pace of their car. When observing the onboard camera records, Ferrari's F175 is bouncing the same as the W13 on the straights, but they are not carrying their problem to the high-speed corners. After a very smooth ride in Imola, Verstappen was able to wrap the easy wins in both sprint and feature races. As a team, Checo also shows greater improvement by bringing 1 and 2 finishes for Red Bull since Malaysia 2016. They look more comfortable in their RB18s relative to their main rivals Mercedes and Ferrari, who are still bouncing like horses due to porpoising issues. The series of upgrades being brought to Red Bull by their technical team appears to be giving a 100% success rate now. What are the upgrades that the Red Bull brings for its RB18 to solve the porpoising issue? Red Bull introduced their first upgrade to the porpoising issue during the Bahrain preseason testing by making some considerable changes to the side pod and floor design with the intention of solving the porpoising issue before the start of the season. In addition to the porpoising issue, they targeted the improvement of the performance of the car through this upgrade. It is not clear whether either side pod upgrade or floor upgrade causes much effect to reduce the porpoising. Anyhow, neither of these upgrades was able to totally address the porpoising issue of the RB18. Floor upgrades cause a significant change to the edge of the floor, known as the skirt, and to the vortices that run alongside the side of the car. With this upgrade, the side skirt helps to reduce the pressure difference of the underside of the car, and it was achieved through a vortex of air close to the floor along the side of the car, which stops air from escaping out from under the car. This was a very practical solution to keep the pressure under the car, which helps reduce the effects of porpoising to some extent. They didn't want to stop there and bring some further updates to its RB18 to remain as a main title contender for the 2022 F1 Championship. According to the Greek motorsport journalist Dimitrios Bezas, Red Bull engineers introduced a new rear suspension system for RB18 to deal well with the porpoising issue. This upgrade appeared to have more effect on the porpoising issue of the car than the previous upgrade during pre-season testing. But this change should be a new innovative idea from engineers of the Milton Keynes, outside the idea of active suspension, which was banned in 1994. Bringing back the active suspension as a solution to porpoising came into the discussion at the beginning of the season. George Russell was one of the more vocal drivers calling for the return of active suspension to modern F1 cars. It's clear if we had active suspension, the cars would be a hell of a lot faster for the same aerodynamic surfaces because you'd be able to optimize the ride heights for every corner speed and optimize it down for the straight for the least amount of drag, said Russell. Actually, that's an easy way to make the cars go faster, addressing the porpoising issue meantime as well. But, as things stand, they're definitely still banned, and Red Bull's new suspension system is still a secret to their rival teams, as it is not a naked upgrade like previous ones to the body design of the car. But the rival teams suspect that Red Bull is trying some kind of active suspension system due to their smooth rides during Australian and Imola Grand Prix. However, McLaren boss Ross Brawn reportedly chooses to take a closer look at the car and reportedly looked primarily at the rear suspension, and he assumes that whatever the Red Bull have back there is legal. Commenting about the present situation of their car, Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko said, "We've got that well under control, but still there are little movements. We assumed that this was the main cause of the damage to the fuel line. Whether it's an issue or not for the team, we think it definitely isn't." He used the small amount of porpoising that the team was having as an excuse for their 3 DNFs in the opening 3 races. If it is true, now they are 99% recovered from that problem and no more DNFs can be expected for Red Bulls. That is good news for all the Red Bull and Verstappen fans. Due to the double first-place finish in Imola, Verstappen was able to reduce the point deficit up to 27. Ferrari and Leclerc are still at a disadvantage over the partially solved porpoising issue. Few straight wins will help Verstappen to take the championship lead again. But it totally depends on how quickly each rival team understands the issue and the treatment as solved by the Milton Keynes-based team. Over the decades, the F1 Championship is all about the speed of the car and the talent behind the steering wheel. But funnily this time, it's all about the porpoising.